Alright, let's go.
Oh my God, I'm the man. I'm so fly and I can dance. There's tattoos on my neck. I just FaceTime Kanye. I told him I'm his biggest
What's
fan.
going on, guys? What's going on?
What is up, Neighbros Nation? We're back at it again with some more podcasting. We got Daudi on the phone.
What's
as
going
per
on,
usual.
Daudi?
What's going on? Coming from Calgary.
Hey,
all the way
Calgary.
from
Calgary and T.O., what's going on,
How's Toronto
baby?
doing there?
This is good. It's good. It's
It's
warming
good?
up. It's warming up. Can't complain.
Yeah.
Complain. So Daudi, okay,
Daudi.
I know we haven't talked in a bit. No, that's a lie. We talk every day. But
Yeah.
so what do we got on deck for today for topics?
I think we got to talk about the one that's kind of most bizarre and taking everything by blitz, and unfortunately taking a lot of beautiful young souls that needs resolution. And I think we have to talk about the unfortunate gun control, which is still paralyzing the state and paralyzing schools across the country. And what's going on, guys? This is just going out of hand. Is this ever going to be resolved? Or, I think that's what we need to talk about. Like, what's going on, guys?
Man, God. It's just, for me as a Canadian looking down, I just can't believe how backwards they are. How I saw a clip. It was a student. I love what their students are doing right now because they're literally giving it to the man. They're actually talking to the man. I saw one kid talking to one congressman. He ran for president or Congress. He's a short guy. He sweats a lot. It doesn't matter. He's a jackass. But he called them out saying, how much are the NRA paying you? How much in donations are they paying you? And then he kind of BS'd his way or tried to BS his way out of that. And it just kind of shows how messed up the United States government really is because, and saying that, this could be any government too. You never really know. But showing that they take in money. And it's on serious topics. Like, how many times does this have to happen to bring this topic? They're saying, "Oh yeah, we'll raise the age to 21 for getting." No, pull Australia and just cut it out. Just gut it out.
That's ridiculous.
That's the dumbest thing. Because LeBron James, way before all this happened, he made a good point, which it should be a Kickstarter. He's like, "Why can a kid buy a gun at 18 but can't buy beer at 18?
That's the most ridiculous thing. You can buy an AR-15
when you're 18, but you can't buy Bud Light
when you're until you're 21.
What's the AR-15? If you guys can explain for
It's an assault rifle. It's an assault rifle.
It's a gun. It's a gun, but it is stupid.
It's not just a gun. It's a massive gun.
What type of gun?
It's a
Yeah.
massive gun.
And then I also saw
it's a machine gun.
I also saw a video. It was the meeting with Trump, with all the survivors, and there's one gentleman. His daughter died at the school at Parkland, Florida, and he said, "Listen, got my two sons here. They're never going to see their sister. I'm never going to see my daughter." And he said, "How many times does this have to happen? How many school shootings does have to happen to realize what's going on?" He said, "First off, you have to make schools safe, first and foremost, because kids can't go to school thinking they're going to get shot." Like, us growing in Canada, that was the last thing on my mind. My thing on my mind was like, am I going to get chocolate milk today? Or is it pizza day today? Not, oh, I'm going to get shot today. It's stupid. It's backwards. It's idiotic. You should, it's so simple. Just get it out. Just cut it out. Gun control? No gun. Just get it out.
I don't know if you guys heard this, but I was watching. It was either the news or it was Trevor Noah. But Trevor Noah,
probably Trevor Noah.
He explained it really well. And there was one thing. Yeah, it was definitely okay. It was definitely Trevor Noah. But there was this one thing they're saying to Republicans are saying they have to have the teachers own guns and have guns in the classroom so they can protect their students.
That's the dumbest thing.
Who thinks of that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Who thinks of that, really? Like, oh, yeah, let's give all the teachers at every single school a gun so they can protect the students just in case someone else comes in and tries to shoot them. But now there's more guns and it's easier for students to grab. Or say if a teacher's
Yeah.
pissed off one day, they can just shoot their kids. Like, what is this?
Because you never know what teachers are going through. Mental health, that's huge. It's been playing a factor. So when a teacher is having a bad day and he's not really in his own mind, you never know what can happen. In their mind, in the U.S., they think right now more guns is the way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
When it should be the other way around. Look at Canada.
I forget it was one of the Asian countries, like China or Japan. They got rid of guns and they made the gun laws ridiculous.
It's
So,
like Australia too.
yeah, like you have to go through like 100 different steps to buy a gun and do all this training and everything, and they only allow handguns. You can't even own anything more than a handgun if you're a citizen.
And those are all. I think it's easy. I think this is also. I know right now the Republicans are in office and they are heavily to blame because after all the Republicans are funded by the NRA, which is an establishment that's very pro gun.
They run the states right now.
They do.
But the key thing is the Democrats had the same problem. Like I'm also going to call out the Democrats. It's very easy to call out the Republicans. But the Democrats also haven't done a good job of dealing with this issue because this issue was predominantly there when Barack Obama was in office, and even Chicago. I think everybody's talking about Florida, but Chicago has the highest murder capita, and half of that murder capita is due to guns. I think part of the problem is with the NRA, since it's such an influential establishment and it's been there for. I mean, what's kind of slowing this problem? Because again, election race is coming anytime in two years now.
Yeah.
The president's thinking about the election. I'm not saying this is right, but I'm saying these are factors to why things haven't changed. And also, Democrats have also been very. Are actually a huge part to blame too, as well as the Republicans. Yeah. Even though Republicans, but the one thing the one thing that needs to stop, one thing they need to focus on is they need to do a mental health background check, an extensive background check, and they gotta get away with these bumper stock guns or whatever they call them.
The stocks,
bumper.
Yeah, you can have stock.
They need to get rid of that stuff. There's you know what? It's First Amendment, but no one needs a stock gun, and we need to.
What's the point?
Pardon me?
What's the point of having guns, man?
The thing is, it's part of the Constitution. It's just like how we have the Charter of Life. So long as you have the First Amendment, it's true. What's the whole point? But it's just the same point of someone saying, "Hey, what's the whole point of your charter?" Freedom rights. So it's part of their constitution. I'm not agreeing with it, but it's their First Amendment. So as part of the First Amendment that you are allowed to have a gun, which is sad, which is unfortunate. It's
just because the country's been around for over 200 and something years, like close to 100, right? So the way of life was so different back then.
Completely.
Right? And it was all set in stone in a different time. But because those laws are still there and those rights are still there, that people abide to them. And that's all they think, right? Because there's nothing else that they've known. And
that's it.
Yeah,
and that's what's causing the most problems is the First Amendment, because that is basically part of your right to be an American citizen. Like Nate has the right to have a gun, and if Riley, if you ever come to his house and try to do whatever, even if you're just dropping off keys and you scared Nate has the right to shoot you down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the First Amendment.
Yeah, is it the first or is it the second? I forgot.
It should be no amendment.
It's crazy. I agree, but people still get even if Nate shoots you, Nate would still get arrested for whatever they call
manslaughter or first degree or something.
For your sentence, but you do have that right regardless. You're not in but in Canada with the current situation, I forgot it's Saskatchewan, where someone was going into someone's property and
it's the Second Amendment, not the First Amendment. That's why I'm just looking at stats right now online of all the mass shootings in the States, and it's ridiculous. Even just looking at the last couple of years, the number of mass shootings are really high, This one kind of got me. It's just like, for an assault rifle in the States is the same price as buying a MacBook laptop.
And I got one right here.
1,200 or
Yeah,
like
like it's
15.
around 1,500.
Oh, 15.
But
like,
still.
1,500. So basically, you can decide. It's like, oh, do I want a gun? Do I want a MacBook? It's basically the same thing. And the same for handguns. Handguns are $200 in the States. Relatively.
But you know what I think is a big problem? I think everyone's talking about guns, but I think people are not talking about things that are prohibiting this gun violence. And I want to start saying with the video games, you know, we live in a culture where violence is promoted almost every day.
Yeah.
You look at TV, there's someone always getting shot by a gangbanger or something. You play video games, there's Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto is your name. You look at video games, the rappers like Young Thug, whoever musicians are always rapping about how their friends got killed or how they pulled the trigger or how they know they pulled. Like, it's just violence. You have to wonder, after a certain point, is this starting to affect individuals? And I think that's one big issue that people are not looking at. And I think maybe we need to start limiting or controlling this content, because it's just too much violence compared to. During our parents' era, they didn't, like, I'm sure they experienced their own type of violence, but it's as much as we do, where you can go and Grand Theft Auto and do a massacre. That's just crazy.
I think people, I don't know if that is a big factor as they thought it was, because they said, I remember back in the, like, when we were in like high school or whatever, they said like, oh, are video games promoting violence and affecting our youth, right? I don't know if that is like, it is an issue, but I don't know if that's the main issue for of all this gun violence and all these mass shootings. I think it's people that are mentally ill, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right, and they're not treated properly. They're being ignored. Like the guy that did the mass shooting in Florida the other day in Parkland, right? He was on a watch list, right? And they knew he had problems, and he was posting stuff on social media saying he had guns, saying he would do this, and they knew of all these things, but they weren't watching him at the right time. So what's the real issue? Is it the guns and the gun violence and violence within video games and television? Or is it that people aren't being treated properly if they're mentally ill, and they're not being helped when they need to?
And I also, there's a little video of him before it happened in his backyard, target practicing, and he's wearing a Donald Trump hat of "Make America Great Again."
He doesn't help the situation.
No, he does not. I'm just saying it just adds to this.
Yeah, his insanity does not help the situation, especially
Not
when there's
at all.
people that are mentally ill that will follow every little thing he says, especially all the things he said when he was running for office, right? Like, people took that to heart.
I think it's a combination of things, Nate. I think it's a combination of mental health, what's being portrayed on TV, because it does affect whether people are, maybe not gun violence, but we're culturally affected by what we see, what we do. So video games, rap music, TV, it does affect us. It affects the fashion, trends, all that. So I'm not saying it's a huge part, but I think it's a combination of mental health and what's going on today.
Yeah, it's almost like it's recycling, right? Like, it goes in a circle. So say the rappers that are around these days, they're all in their 20s, right? So they all saw, like, they're all playing video games. They saw gun violence wherever they live, right? And they're talking about it in music. So now they're telling all these younger kids what they saw, and it's kind of like showing them, oh, okay, guns and all that, right? So it's like recycled material. Like, it just keeps going in circles, and people keep spitting it out, and they take it in, right? And it's like it's nonstop. That's where I think it's what's happening, because, and it probably all started within the wars, right? Back in World War I and II. So if you look at that and you started recycling all this information that's teaching our children, and it's going to their children, and it keeps getting passed on and on and on, and all of, like, the ghettos, like, what's people killing each other there, and now it's ending up in music and all this stuff. It's going to keep going and going, and that's why it's probably getting worse too.
Yeah, Yeah, it's true, it's unfortunate. I hope that I think people need like mental health, but some people think it's a hoax, but I don't think so. I think it's a situation that we all need to come together. We all have a sibling or know someone that is going through mental health, and I hope they can prevent that. They can help more people in future. Men and women who are going through those stages, so that they don't have to come to a state where they have to kill everybody they see, or and I think if there was a little bit, like Nate, you said that, and it's true, there was a lot. FBI knew about this, which is a shame altogether, but they didn't do anything. If there's someone who could intervene, or a family friend or whatnot, and probably talk to this young man before this horrific incident happened. I mean, I can't imagine being a parent and losing your child at 13 or 4. Especially in a school when they're supposed to get educated, I can't even fathom. I don't know what you do with their homeschool kids. I don't know. It's just wow.
Because what you're saying, it is a product of your environment. I said that before.
100%.
It's definitely a product of your environment. Maybe that guy didn't have the greatest environment, but that shouldn't. But you never know with mental health, because that could be. Because a lot of people don't know. If you are suffering with mental, you never know.
Majority don't.
It's like with Bell, Let's Talk. Don't suffer in silence if you are feeling like this.
Great example for that is look at what's his face. What's the guy who's in Jumanji?
Kevin Hart, The Rock, Jack Black.
The old Jumanji, the original Jumanji.
Oh, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Look at that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's a good example
That's
for
so
like you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
he's
never know.
He was always a happy guy when people saw him. Like, he's a comedian. He meant to make people laugh.
He made people laugh.
But deep down, I guess that's not how he felt, right?
Something wasn't right with him.
You know what? You put something on our DM, the Trailblazer DM, which was so true about social media, of emphasizing for kind of not living. I forgot how the social media post, but I think you know what I'm getting at with this. Is that going back to Robin Williams, is this whole conspiracy, it's this whole thing of everybody likes to post things are going well. Everyone likes to say life is good, but day to day, it's not. We all have our ups and downs, and one thing. There's one message one of my mentors told me. He said, in life you're gonna lose more than you win.
Yeah.
For some, and I don't know why I gravitated to that. Like I'm still thinking about that, and it's true. Like as much as many accomplishments you're gonna have, you're gonna lose before you get those big accomplishments. And that's something that needs to start being echoed. Is that, and even with Instagram and social media in general, is that what, life is not always happy go. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be, and it should be. Make the best out of it. But the fact of the matter is that there are downs, and there's nothing wrong with downs. Downs is what builds character.
Exactly.
And I think that's what needs to be the main focus, is that we need to start promoting this fake life. And this goes to relationships. We need to start promoting this, life is easy, life is... No. We're all grinding. Some of us are working big jobs. You work at 7 o'clock. Nate, you work in another position. Like, I got a network here. Like, life is all about hustling and bustling, and that's what we need to focus on. Just because life is tough, it's not a bad thing. It's also character development, and I think that's what needs to be pushed on moving forward with all these issues. Is that we're human. Life is not always also nice and shiny.
On that note,
I think that the mental health topic can go into a different podcast, because that's a whole different thing we can get into. So saying that, we're close to wrapping up. Daudi, do you have any last words for anybody that we?
Honestly, what he just said, that's
I know.
last words.
As soon as I said that, I was like, you know what? I think you said what you needed to say.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything other than that.
He's going out on top of everybody.
You good. You good, bro. You good.
I'm good.
Yeah, he's gonna quit while he's ahead. He's gonna retire on top. He's gonna
good
do
idea.
It,
So we talked about it. It's just it's a hairy subject to talk about, and everyone knows the situation, and we should just
condolences though to everyone that was
affected.
killed and affected to their families and everything. But again, the tough topic. It's never going to be solved in
Never.
one talk. It's not going to be solved in
No,
one
but
instance.
it is good to
But it's
have
always-
this talk, though.
it's always good,
It's always
yeah.
good to have that. It's always good to have the students rebel and show their frustrations.
Yeah.
On that note,
I think that's it for today.
I think that's it for today. As you all know, the links to our social medias are down below. Make sure you follow the Neighbros podcast on Instagram. Hit that what the
No,
hell?
let me just do.
Ugh.
Let me take this. Okay, this guy's just.
I
struggling.
got the
So-
Instagram.
Yeah, okay. So on Instagram, we're always posting some fire stuff. We got some inspirational quotes. We got some funny stuff. So hit us up on our Instagram and also smash that subscribe button. And maybe
I
just-
have so much problem saying subscribe.
Yeah, you do. It is a problem. You got to get that checked out.
Subscribe.
And also hit that like button because why not?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt you. And drop us a comment for topics that you'd want us to talk about in the future. Because
We want to keep this interactive. What you guys want to hear, because you guys, what makes us happy.
There you go.
Yeah, Daddy says yes.
There you go.
Saying that, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time. And see ya.
Oh my God, I'm the man. I'm so fly and I can dance. There's tattoos on my neck. I just FaceTime Kanye. I told him I'm his biggest fan, yeah.